their guidelines. I mean, the FCC may have said something, but that doesn't mean Donald Trump or the government really got involved. Whatever these companies decide to do with the people that they employ is up to them. And if you guys want to go ahead and try to weave the government into this as if they have something to do with it, I mean, you can, but at the end of the day, it still stands that he wasn't fired because of the FCC. He wasn't fired because of Trump. He was fired by the people who sign his checks. Is what it is.
Yeah, a lot of people are worried that we won't keep saying what we want to say or that we'll be censored. But I'm going to cover the president's trip to the UK just like I normally would. Well, guys, President Trump just wrapped up his 3-day trip to the UK, and he
looked incredibly handsome.
I just want to say before we get started here that I've always admired and respected Mr. Trump. I've always believed he was a visionary, innovator, a great president, and even better golfer.
That is just a taste of what we heard overnight from late night in defense of Jimmy Kimmel after ABC suspended him indefinitely following threats from the White House. Jon Stewart, you just saw him, he came in for a special Thursday night edition of his show and explained the First Amendment.
In America, we have a little something called the First Amendment. And let me tell you how it works. There's something called a talent-o-meter. It's a completely scientific instrument that is kept on the president's desk. And it tells the president when a performer's TQ, talent quotient, measured mostly by niceness to the president, goes below a certain level, at which point the FCC must be notified to threaten the acquisition prospects for billion-dollar mergers of network affiliates. These affiliates are then asked to give ultimatums to the even larger megacorporation that controls the flow of state-approved content, or the FCC can just choose to threaten those licenses directly. It's basic science.
And yeah, they even threw the Federal Trade Commission in there too. It was like, well, they want to also appeal to the Federal Trade Commission so that Nexstar can go ahead and buy Tigna because that's holding them up. And the FTC is saying that, well, if you don't handle Kimmel, then we won't let you merge. And you see, they're kind of weaving a corporate conspiracy into this, which is honestly, well, I could see it. There may be some validity to it, but it does seem like you guys are just trying to reach at this point. Anything but to accept that he got fired because he wasn't that funny and he was performing badly. Like, look, man, Jon Stewart, you're doing well, but Kimmel wasn't. Okay, that's why you're still on and he's not. For now.
Read your Constitution. Read it.
So that's what Jon Stewart had to say about the First Amendment. What are they saying about it on Capitol Hill? CNN's Annie Greer is there this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, John. Well, we are seeing a split screen unfolding on Capitol Hill where Republicans are largely supportive of the decision of ABC to remove Kimmel from the air indefinitely.
Yep. Now remember, not Trump, not FCC, but ABC. I don't know why you guys are outraged about an employer firing their employee. I don't know why you're outraged about that. I mean, shoot, Biden got people's banned off social media that they were getting paid for. I mean, the YouTube does it all the time. And I know y'all guys see you sign up for it. Yeah, so did Kimmel. When Kimmel signed that contract, he signed to follow their community guidelines and that as well. So thank you for proving my point.
Say it is a business decision, and they're largely sidestepping any questions about FCC or Brendan Carr. Now, Democrats, on the other hand, are raising alarm bells here. They say that this is just the beginning of what could be a dangerous road towards censorship. This sets a very dangerous precedent and really infringes.
Hold on. They're talking about a road to censorship after we're 10 miles down the road to censorship on their behalf.
Yeah.
This is a dangerous road to censorship, so it's okay to kick the sitting president off of, every social media platform. It's okay to deplatform an entire social media platform because they allow the president on it. It's okay for conservative pundits to get audited by the IRS because they're conservative. It's okay for all of these things to happen. But because it happens to you guys, suddenly now it's a freedom of speech issue?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Y'all stayed so silent during the Biden administration. He was getting people took off social media left and right. I mean,
You're
y'all
just mad because now there's consequences for your heinous actions, and I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I'm not
too.
gonna. I'll defend your right to say whatever you want, but you don't have the right to a platform. Say it with me, Set. You don't have the right to a platform.
And let's go. And Martha, you do got a frog in the mic.
What?
Speech. Take
Yeah, I know, the frog in the mic.
to listen to just a sampling of how lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are talking about this issue.
There's free speech. And if you're going to go out there and speak your piece, fine, but you're accountable to somebody. It's not the government. You're accountable to your people that employ you.
Is the right dabbling in cancel culture?
Not this guy on the right. I mean, I just said he's entitled under the First Amendment to say what he wants. But on the other hand, I applaud.
And here's the thing. I mean, he is entitled to say whatever he wants, but we're still going to applaud ABC for taking him down. And here's the thing. It doesn't have anything to do with politics. It's just that he broke their guidelines, and let's just leave politics out of it. They were going to take him out eventually.
Not to mention, Set, no one wants to hear what he has to say, as evident by the ratings. No one's buying what he's selling.
Exactly. So they were going to get him off anyway because he was costing them money. So I do need you guys to understand that you guys are trying to weave Trump into this, weave the government into this, when no, he just got fired by his employer. That's it.
The move of Disney, his corporate parent, to say, we think this is terrible.
It's not a question of whether you agree with Mr. Kimmel or disagree with Mr. Kimmel. The point is one of the government not coming in and making decisions about who.
And shout out to my man Dave Johnson. Hey, and shout out Big Wave Dave, who's also in the chat. But shout out to my man Dave Johnson. He says nobody watched LOL. Untalented stuffing. Laugh out loud, and he says love. Hey man, love to you too, man. A lot of people do say he was untalented and not funny, and that's the thing. I'm gonna agree with you guys because I never really watched him like that. But seeing that the other guys are on and he's out, it goes to show.
Hold on. Let's put up a poll. Is an employer forced to employ an employee? Yes or no? Very simple. If anybody answers yes to that, then you're not mature enough to have this conversation or even have an opinion on the matter.
Facts. Oh, but I'll go ahead and put it in there. Listen.
this speech gets heard.
So as you see, very different reactions here, and it's really just unfolding a larger conversation on Capitol Hill about free speech and if there are any limits to it. And one thing that Republicans have been pushing for a very long time is being against cancel culture. And that is a question that's coming up again as they support the decision to remove Kimmel from the air. This is something that is going to continue to develop, but it is really remarkable to see such different reactions here. I should point out that Democrats are even trying to investigate this decision, but given that they are in the minority, they do not have the power on committees to really compel any testimony or documents there. But this is something that both Democrats and Republicans have very strong but very different views on.
Different. Although I will say there are some conservative outlets or center-right outlets now that are raising questions about the government role in all this. But so far, a lot of the members on Capitol Hill not seeing it the same way. Annie Greer.
To be honest with you, like I kind of read up on everything, and the FCC, they only kind of like raised suspicion. They didn't really put out no real case against this man because the case is kind of weak. If they was to put something out against him, it would be a weak case. Honestly, I think the FCC was just thrown in there to try to throw confusion into his firing and try to make it something other than ABC taking this man off. The left is trying to connect this to Trump because, well, they just can't stand that. Well, I guess one of their favorite guys got taken off for low ratings. I mean, I guess it was only the echo chamber that I was watching.
Great to see you. Thank you very much. Kate.
Sticking their neck out. Once again, President Trump is applauding ABC's decision, as we have seen, to pull Jimmy Kimmel from the air. He's also saying very clearly that he thinks networks should lose their broadcasting licenses simply for criticizing him. Listen to this.
They give me only bad publicity or press. I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away.
Now that was dishonest.
Hold on. Hold on.
Yeah.
When did he say they should have their license taken away for supporting him or for not supporting him?
No,
He
that's
didn't
what I'm
say
about to
that.
say. He never said that. He said that they gave me mainly negative news coverage, and I do believe there is a law against that. Like, I don't think you can provide mainly negative news coverage on one candidate but give only positive news coverage to the other. I think there is a law against that. I'm not for sure though.
It's called libel. It's called the libel law. You're not allowed to fucking just trash one person asymmetrically.
Yeah, but then champion their opponent.
Yeah.
It will be up to Brendan Carr.
Joining us right now is Greg Lukianoff. He's the president of FIRE, a free speech advocacy group. And you guys have been very outspoken on this and for years, let's be honest. It's very nice to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Brendan Carr has said you hear that from the president, but Brendan Carr also said yesterday that
Holy
the ABC
shit.
move is not
Hold on. Hey,
Yeah.
look what Ham just wrote.
I did not. Hold on.
No, I fucking agree with it.
Really? Hold on now. What does it say? Because I can't find it.
It's in the last thing he wrote. It's pretty long.
All right. Well, we'll just hold on.
Yeah.
It's very hard to revoke and pull a broadcasting license.
Yeah.
At least it was in the past.
It was.
Where do you think this goes now?
Oh my God. Well, I mean, first of all, I want to say, like, the murder of Charlie Kirk was a savage blow against freedom of speech. But the administration is exploiting that to go after its political enemies in a way that violates the First Amendment consistently. I have seen them adopt practically every argument they criticize on the left, whether it's hate speech or misinformation as a rationale for censorship. Brendan Carr himself criticized.
There's a lot of tweets for Brendan Carr that are not aging well for him.
Yeah, exactly. Where he said this precisely the same
I
thing.
mean, let's be real. I mean, if it was about hate speech or anything like that, Jimmy Kimmel would have been let go a long time ago. Let's be honest. So it's not about what he said about Charlie. Honestly, it is what he said about Charlie Kirk, and it's also his ratings as well. And apparently what he said about Charlie Kirk was not against, wasn't really about the FCCC. It was about, the community guidelines of the corporations that sign his check.
Not to mention, hey, Seth, let's put it to you this way. If ABC was getting good ratings from Jimmy Kimmel, and he said this one thing, they would overlook it. They would say, "Nah, he's making us good money. We're gonna keep him up." Like, no, it's a combination of the two things. He said hateful things in the past, which fucking inflame people, and it shows badly on the corporation. And no one's actually watching him. And now he said something else that's patently false and verifiably false. Then he wants to go and double down on it. So he got fired.
Let me go ahead and read. Hold on here, but let me go ahead and read this information now on who pushed for the suspension and ultimately the firing. It was Nexstar Media Group, a large group owning many ABC affiliate stations. Nexstar said its ABC affiliates would pretty much take down the show, drop it, beginning immediately, citing that Kimmel's comments were offensive and insensitive. St. Clair Broadcast Group, another big affiliate group, St. Clair demanded that Kimmel issue an apology and make donations to Charlie Kirk's family or organization in order for them to resume airing the show. And he doubled down and said, "I ain't doing that." And of course, there's the FCC chair, Brendan Carr. He publicly condemned Kimmel's monologue, called for accountability, and suggests regulatory consequences if ABC did not act. That seemed to have added pressure. So that's what the Dems are mainly going off of, is that, Brendan Carr got involved, and since he got involved, now it's the only reason why St. Clair and Nexstar pulled this.
So ignore the fact that ABC, Nexstar, and Sinclair all wanted to fire him anyway. But because the big bad FCC got in the way, somehow it's an oppression of free speech. He was going to get fired anyway, you dweebs.
Yeah, but Monty, there's this burp in the mic. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I can't tell you what that is.
All right, it is what it is.
Turning those into weapons for their own use.
You heard President Trump say that networks should lose their licenses for criticizing him.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Charlie Kirk because, interestingly enough, Charlie Kirk had something to say about this very issue in the past. And I looked back. He's on social media reacting to when South Park made fun of him, kind of lampooned him in an episode. He said this: "We need to have a good spirit about being made fun of. This is a success. This is all a win. We as conservatives, we have thick skin, not thin skin."
Hold on. There's a difference. No. I'm gonna cut her off right there. There's a difference between making fun of somebody and making a comedy quip and calling an entire group of people a bunch of idiots and liars when they say, "Oh, the left killed Charlie Kirk," and being insensitive to somebody's murder. South Park didn't do that, and not to mention, South Park pulled that episode.
Really?
Yeah, South Park pulled that episode from their rerun schedule on their own accord.
Oh man, aren't they real for that one? But I mean, yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that. But and here's the thing, guys. I understand how you want to make this about the government, but let's be real. You can't really get mad at ABC for taking off a guy who had low ratings, and then her trying to compare this or trying to bring in Charlie Kirk. I mean, it's a completely different situation here. Completely different. Like, the problem is this guy says something pretty damn insensitive on national television. And here's the thing. He can't be prosecuted for saying that. No, but he can be fired. Like, that's not infringement on his freedom of speech. He can be fired for his freedom of speech. You know that, right? Like, freedom of persecution, not a consequence. Remember that part.
I mean, that is a true statement and should be for anyone in public life.
Yeah.
But then you hold that up against the threat, this new threat coming from the president. I just wonder what it leads to.
Yeah. Well, I think they've been pretty transparent, and that's one of the reasons why the whole conservative attempt to be like, "Oh, this was just a business decision by ABC. The government played no role," and it's like, Trump actually said Jimmy Kimmel is next, months ago, and he repeated this. So what can we expect? We can expect him to go after the other late night hosts.
Brian Stelter brought it up today that if they're going to run up against the law and the Constitution, what they could be trying to do, though, is lead to self-censorship.
Yes.
And do you see that happening?
Oh, yeah. No, that's been a lot of the playbook. I mean, so far, the Trump administration, its approach has been to go after centers of sort of like liberal power. And so they've gone after universities, they've gone after the media, they've gone after journalism. And but unfortunately, a lot of these corporations have been caving in the face of it. And by the way, one of the only people who hasn't caved is Ann Selzer, who were defending it against a personal lawsuit by Trump.
The very well-known pollster out of Iowa.
Yeah, and she, what they're going after her for is allegedly it was a violation of consumer protection law that she got a poll wrong about because it didn't favor Trump.
I was looking through your bio. You're also the executive producer of a documentary about really getting at this very thing, the chilling effect that kind of outrage.
All right, now let's go ahead and get into the corporate conspiracy theory that they're coming up with. Because, like I said, they dragged the FCC, and now they're trying to drag in the FTC as well. Yeah, the Federal Trade Commission is getting dragged in as well.
And we're back with the money lead and the Jimmy Kimmel Show suspension, as we've been laying out for a couple of days now. There's a very obvious money trail, well worth your following. Nexstar, the biggest owner of local TV stations in the country, needs the FCC to approve their effort to buy their biggest rival, Tegna. And this week, Nexstar followed the lead of FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, who said he wanted local TV stations to announce they were no longer going to air Kimmel, by announcing that their ABC-affiliated stations would preempt Jimmy Kimmel because they said they objected to Jimmy Kimmel's comments. With us now is former Federal Trade Commissioner Alvaro Bedoya. He was fired by the Trump administration this past March. And we should just clarify that you were with the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, not the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. But either way, some of these mergers and such would probably need FTC approval as well. There's a lot of money to be made. Nexstar has ample reason to try to endear itself to the FCC. So does Bob Iger and Disney, for that matter. What do you think is going to happen next?
So I don't know what will happen with this, but I can tell you that this is much bigger than late night. Because maybe you go to bed at 10, maybe you just don't have cable, but you do buy groceries, you do have prescription medicine. And what this president is doing is using these rules that are supposed to protect the public against mergers that are going to hurt them or raise prices. And he's using those rules to hurt his enemies and help his friends. And so it's not going to matter if grocery prices go up or drug prices go up. What's going to matter is who's given how much to the president and his friends.
Because just to reiterate for people, the more companies there are, the more competition there is, and that keeps theoretically prices as low as possible, unless there's antitrust violations going on. And you posted on social media that you think that this is broader than censorship, broader than late night. 50 media companies controlling 90% of the market, down to 5 companies controlling 90% of the market. Tell us.
Yeah, makes sense.
It used to be 40 years ago, 50 companies were around controlling that market. If you censor company number 50, good luck with the other 49, right? But now we have a situation where there are just 5 media conglomerates controlling 90% of the market. And the president can literally hold out his hand and say, we got Colbert, Kimmel's next, and now it's Fallon and Myers, right? So people need to understand that this has been years in the making, and that consolidation not only is bad for free speech, when a couple people control what we watch on television, it also paves the way for this kind of censorship and overreach.
And we should note that when you say Fallon and Myers are next, the late night comedians on NBC, you're quoting him. I mean, he said
yes.
That. Yeah. But beyond
exactly
that,
right.
I think one of the things that people might need to understand, why Colbert first, why Kimmel next?
Right.
There are opportunities to squeeze these companies because of mergers that happened with Colbert.
That's right.
It's happening now with Kimmel and Disney and Nexstar. The reason it hasn't happened to the NBC guys is because their parent company isn't trying to merge with anybody right now.
That's right. So Richard Nixon actually did this, and there are actually tapes where he's saying, don't mess with my guys when it comes to their merger. We are now seeing that on steroids. And so what used to be a process that was supposed to protect the American consumer, make sure people had choices with respect to their media, with respect to their grocery stores, has been—
I mean, hold on now. It's crazy how y'all want to blame Trump. I mean, why not blame corporate interest? Let's be honest.
Hold on. This is fucking mighty rich to this guy that allowed a lot of different mergers go through. You guys can look that up on your own time. But he seems to be so virtuous and so fucking, oh, this is good, this is bad for the consumer. How many mergers did he allow? Just go ahead and look that one up on your own time. Anyway, so the idea that this is somehow targeted or whatever, there's only one side of media. So you want to talk about choice in your media and all this fun shit, but unless you portray the Democrat ideology, you don't get your voice out there. So what are we talking about choice in? Just choice of your favorite liberal? Is that what we get the choice of? We can have any color we want as long as it's liberal, right?
I mean, apparently to them. Let's see here.
Oh, but we allow Fox News to exist by the glory of God.
Oh, man. All right.
basically been hijacked.
Shout out Monty.
To advance this president's agenda. And the one thing I will say is that this is years in the making, and Republicans and Democrats have created a legal system that kept on letting these companies get bigger. The Telecommunications Act in 1996 paved the way for each of these companies to gobble each other up more and more.
Yeah, and that's because a lot of these telecommunications agencies gave a lot of donations to Republicans and Democrats alike. Alvaro Bedoya, thank you so much. Come back soon. Good insights. We appreciate it.
All right, now let's go ahead and get over to, let's get over to some Anton Daniels. Let me react to these guys real quick. I used to be a Democrat, and now I realize they are evil. So let's go get over to the sensible Dems who are coming to the light. All right, I'm just playing, but come on, guys. Let's be real. You guys have been acting pretty crazy lately.
I am done with the Democratic Party. You guys are psychotic. I've been a Democrat my entire life. I'm 43 years old, and I've never been more humiliated and embarrassed to be part of something. You guys are the most racist, hateful, bigoted, nasty group of people I've ever had to commingle with. And it's not all, just to be clear, but it's the majority of you guys. The left has lost their minds. What I've witnessed over the last 72 hours has been an absolute disgrace. Disgrace. You guys want to sit here, you want to abort babies at 9 months, you want to leave the borders wide open. New York City is an absolute disgrace. You have no idea what's going on in Manhattan. It's disgusting. Disgusting. It's not even livable anymore. I can't wait to get out of here. We have people that are getting set on fire in New York City subways, not once, but twice. The stores are being looted. People are being pushed in front of the trains. The streets are filled with piss and